Let's talk about Logan. The movie. Sure.
Wolverine 3.
The end of Wolverine. Film.
Spoiler alert.
Film.
We're going to be talking about spoilers in this episode. So if you haven't seen it yet and you don't want the content ruined, don't listen anymore.
Although, how many spoilers could there really be?
I mean, let's be honest. So, initial impressions of the movie. What do you think?
I haven't made it definitive. I think it was a good action movie. I think it was fun. Yeah. I think it's one of those action movies where you kind of forget you're watching a superhero movie, maybe. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh yeah, this is a superhero movie? I totally forgot about that. The story of Logan is... Logan is old. Professor X is old. This is in the future where there are no more mutants, essentially. There's like a couple left.
Yeah, there's just some old guys.
Just a few of them. It takes place in 2029, which is officially... Like, I can't remember the original X-Men movies. X-Men 1, 2, and 3, The Last Stand, took place like 6 years before this. Or 9 years before this, 2020 or something like that. So it's not that much longer after that. But you don't... The timelines might not be connected.
Yeah.
So this one just could be an alternate universe by itself.
Yeah, we have no idea.
Logan's old. Professor X is old. Professor X, you find out later, has a mental degenerative disease in the most powerful mind in the universe.
Which is real dangerous.
Which is really dangerous. Essentially, he had a seizure and it ended up killing humans and mutants alike 6 months ago, I think.
Yeah, it was
before
like
the movie starts.
Westchester?
Yeah, which is where his school is.
Yeah.
So Wolverine takes him and makes him go to Mexico, and they protect him, and he's trying to protect him and like sedate him, so Professor X doesn't remember what he's done, so he can just kind of die in peace.
Yeah.
Caliban's there, the mutant tracker.
Yeah.
And then Logan's whole job is he kind of has a full-time, part-time gig as an Uber driver, technically.
Essentially.
Yeah. And then he's just trying to make money so he can pay for Professor X's meds, and also to get a boat so they can called the Sunseeker, so they can go out into the ocean and just live in the ocean. So that way, if Professor X ever has another mental breakdown, nobody gets hurt. I assume is the whole purpose.
Yeah, that's kind of what I took from it too.
Later on, you find out that there's this woman who is trying to protect this girl whose name is Laura, who turns out to be X-23, who is a mutant with the claws like Logan, and she's like, Logan, this is your kid. And Logan's like, nah, I don't think so.
I don't remember any of that.
Yeah. And she's like, whatever, you have to take her. And then the nurse / her mom / mostly nurse because they're not actually mom dies. Right. The girl's on her own. She goes back with Logan. She sneaks in with his car to where Professor X is. The girl has been being hunted by
this corporation.
They're called the Reavers, I believe.
Yeah.
But the group there's a chemical corporation in Mexico that's hunting her down because they made her genetically.
Yes. So they like implanted the DNA from Wolverine into the womb, or like fertilized an egg with essentially his DNA, and so that's what created
multiple
her.
times, I think.
Yeah, well, and they use his. They just have his DNA and like a bunch of other mutants' DNA, and so they use that to like essentially artificially fertilize women, and then they birth out these mutants.
Yes.
Which then eventually they learn like, oh, guess we can do it this other way too, and so they don't have to do that. And they like end up synthetically making the humans now or the mutants, which we see later. But the whole
purpose of them trying to make the mutants is for machines of war.
Yeah, to make soldiers.
Yeah,
that do the bidding of the corporation.
Yeah. So then the girl's there, and they're being tracked by the Reavers, and then Wolverine doesn't believe that she's a mutant because there's no more mutants. Essentially, turns out she is a mutant, and they go on this road trip to find the Fireflies. I mean, to go to Eden.
Yeah, Eden.
That was weird. There's little
Fireflies.
The Last of Us slip in there.
Yeah, so this is like it's very similar feel to The Last of Us because Logan does not want this girl at all.
This is too similar.
Just like
to
Joel doesn't want Ellie at all. Now, I will say that Laura is a little bit younger than Ellie, and so it changes the dynamic a little bit.
How old do you think Laura is? Like 8?
Yeah. Like now.
How old do you think Ellie is? Like 13?
Like 12 or 13. I think just like the dialogue between them, like Ellie is really funny and quippy and
that's true,
and
angsty
and
teenage angst.
Laura literally doesn't talk like the
whole time.
The majority of the movie.
He thinks she's a mute.
Yeah, so a mutant. Hey.
So
we
cracked the code.
We did. So there's some similarities there, whereas Logan is trying to get her away from the corporation. The majority of The Last of Us is trying to get to the Fireflies.
To get to a specific location.
So it's a little bit different. But then at the end,
in Logan, it's North Dakota. In Last of Us, it's Colorado.
Yeah.
They're literally next door to each other. I mean, not literally, but pretty close.
Figuratively, maybe.
And both of these start in Texas.
The
Last of Us starts in Texas. In Austin. Or El Paso. Do you not remember?
The Last of Us starts in Boston.
False.
Really?
The 20 years when his daughter dies is in Texas.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it started in Boston.
No.
How is Houston so green?
No. This is when his daughter dies. The prologue.
Oh,
and then it goes 20 years later and it's in a different city.
Okay.
But they both start in Texas, technically.
Oh.
There's a lot of parallels to The Last of Us and Logan, and I was calling them out during the movie.
Yeah, we had a couple chuckles.
This is The Last of Us, and you said, and this is when we found out that there was Laura, and that there is her quote-unquote mother. And I said, this is The Last of Us. This is happening just like The Last of Us. You said, if that's true, she's going to have to die in the next 5 minutes. Bam, 4.5 minutes later,
she died.
The mother was dead.
That's so true, because I did say that. I predicted that pretty well.
That was over. But essentially, I have some thoughts. What are your thoughts, first of all?
On this movie?
Yes.
I think it's the best standalone Wolverine movie that we've had.
Hey, that's saying something.
No, it's not. It's like saying it's a little bit better than Dirt, right?
Some people are saying that this is better than The Dark Knight. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
This is not better than The Dark Knight.
This is not better, first of all.
This is a good movie.
The Dark Knight is good.
Yeah.
Maybe the best superhero movie there is. Although
perhaps.
Deadpool needs to be in that discussion. Avengers 2012 needs to be in that discussion. And Spider-Man 2 needs to be in that discussion. I don't know if Logan needs to be in that discussion. I still need to think about that. Maybe Logan should be.
I think Logan is the best Wolverine movie that we've had.
Oh, I need to put this out front.
Yeah.
I like this movie. I, as a person, do not like Wolverine that much. I don't think he's that cool.
Yeah.
He kind of has a cool backstory, and the fact that he's lived through so many wars is really cool, but he's really just a rage monster. He has the weirdest haircut. He's strong, and his mutant powers really aren't that cool. He has healing. Okay, that's fine.
That's pretty
cool. And
he
has claws that come out of his hands. Okay. How much can you do with that? So in my notes here, I wrote... And I know you haven't seen John Wick yet. But what if you combined Wolverine with John Wick's skill set? As I mentioned in my John Wick review, John Wick has what they call gun fu. It's essentially kung fu, but he uses guns as an extension of his hand. Wolverine's biggest problem is he has no ranged attacks. He always has to leap into people.
That's true.
Right? So what if you added guns to his claws? He could do medium and close range damage at an incredible rate. And he can use his claws with his hands closed, so a gun's not going to get in his way.
So was this what you... were referencing when you said that you had some things that would make this movie better?
No. This is not it. This is just a Wolverine fantasy. And he does use a gun, and he's fairly accurate with it.
Yeah.
Right? I also found out recently, today, that the adamantium, one, is poisoning him, and has been ever since it was injected into his body. And two, because it's always been poisoning him, his mutant regeneration ability is always working.
And it's weakening over time because it's had to work so hard.
Literally 100% of the time to counteract what's happening to him.
Yeah, and that's why he's getting old. That's why he's dying.
Because he's been working so hard.
Because his body's just been eating itself up.
But yeah, I don't like... So, Wolverine is like the second most popular Marvel villain, or Marvel superhero. Maybe not anymore with Iron Man and Captain America and Hulk and Thor.
But before
that, it was like... Spider-Man, Wolverine. Neck and neck. And some people are obsessed with Wolverine. I have an ongoing thought in my head that maybe Wolverine's the problem with the X-Men movies. Because they've tried to recast X-Men movies so many times, and it's always the same. It's always Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Maybe he's the problem. Maybe they just need to restart it from the beginning and not tie it in to the first 3 X-Men movies. Do this, do that.
I don't know.
That's not a solid thought. That's just kind of a...
I was going to say,
it's like I don't know. It's a fart thought. Like, it hasn't fully formed yet.
Okay. I think their new cast for like the newest trilogy of X-Men movies, I think they've got a good cast right there.
I do, but
I don't think they need Wolverine.
It's still set in the original universe. It's still set in X-Men 1, 2, and 3 because they can't break away from it for whatever reason.
Right.
You could say because Hugh Jackman ties them to it, but also they keep doing it themselves. But maybe they just need to break off and do their own thing. However, just in general, everyone always freaks out when they see Wolverine. I'm like, I just don't get it. I do not understand why so many people like him. He's not that cool of a character. He's just kind of gruff.
I don't know. And some people like...
Do you like him?
Some people like that.
Do you like him?
I like Wolverine.
Do you like him or do you just kind of accept him?
Like, okay. I like Wolverine. He's not my favorite X-Men, but I like him.
Who's your favorite X-Men?
It's a tie. Gambit was my favorite growing up as a kid.
I always knew you liked Channing Tatum.
But then... Shut up. But then, after a while, I started really liking Cyclops. This was before the movies came out. When the movies came out, then I definitely missed Gambit a lot because the way they portray Cyclops is like such a tool.
Yeah.
And X1 and 2, it's real bad.
Yeah.
So
he's very Captain America. He's the leader. He's loyal.
He's supposed to be. You're right. And in the cartoon growing up, which is what I watched to decide who's my favorite, I liked Gambit a lot because I liked the card throwing things. That was cool.
Yeah.
And I could throw cards too, so it was like.
I guess like a story balancing issue was when Wolverine is with the X-Men, you have Cyclops who can only do ranged attacks, and you have Wolverine who can only do close up.
Sure.
So when they team up together, bam, you got it all solved. But when Wolverine goes off by himself, which he does a lot, he's only close. Now, what did you think? This movie is rated R.
Yes.
And before this movie came out, I said, I hope this isn't rated R for just violence and language and nudity. Turns out it's rated R just for violence, language, and nudity.
Yeah.
There's like...
What else is there to make it rated R about?
You can... Intense scenes of like action or horror or something like that. Like, so the gore and the violence, like, okay, that's fine. It's a Wolverine movie and he's very violent. That's fine. Yeah, you can make that R.
It was very gory.
But I just felt like they threw in curse words for no reason other than just to have them. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that necessarily conveyed any tone or anything. It's just this and this and this. There's some nudity in there that I feel like was just put in there
to make sure it was rated R.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the nudity, I predicted that the nudity would be Hugh Jackman's butt because that's like one of the things that always happens.
That's a staple.
Anytime Hugh Jackman's in a rated R movie, you see his butt. That was not the case.
That was not the case.
We saw somebody else's butt.
We did. we saw a girl's breasts.
Yeah, and that they flashed, which the flashing was totally like, that was stupid. That did not need to be in there. Like, don't even. There was like no value added to that.
Yeah.
Deadpool's little scene at the beginning with his butt was humorous, so it added things.
The end credit scene was at the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
And Deadpool was there, and with Deadpool being there, obviously it was comedy.
Yeah.
That's all it was. There wasn't any violence. There wasn't anything. There was his butt, which I don't necessarily think counts as nudity for an R rating.
Yeah.
But maybe there was. Maybe that does count. I don't know what the ratings board would say.
Yeah,
but it was essentially, it happened before the movie. It was all humor. I think that changed the tone of the whole movie. Do you agree? So they have this extremely funny part that happened in the very beginning, and then as soon as that, you go into this dark and gritty and like somber film, and you already have people laughing. So that way, what I noticed in our theater, because I always have a story about the theater, is that there were scenes that I don't think were intended to be funny, but because people were in such a light mood from the intro scene, they were laughing. So when some things were happening, and I think it was more shown to be like, maybe a little depressing, like, this is Wolverine's life now. Like, he's not doing the things he wants to do.
Sure.
But instead, people are laughing at it because they think it's funny. When as opposed, I think it's more supposed to be like a reflective, like
look how far he's fallen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people were laughing at him. I'm like, that changed, for me, that changed the whole tone of the film.
I didn't think about it that much, but I could see that. I don't know. I think overall, again, I really did like this movie, and I think what made it for me was, I think it was humanized, like in this weird because mutants, but like it was humanized with Patrick Stewart and his character and his fall down, and his pushing Logan to accept the girl, and I think that this was an awesome performance by Patrick Stewart. I love him, so I'm giving him a lot of fan credit right now. But I don't know, the last scene, like when he dies, spoiler.
Did you think he was gonna die? He got the thing through his heart, and I'm like, okay, he better not survive this. Like, I'm gonna be so mad if he lives.
No, I thought he was gonna die. I mean, I figured by the end of this movie he was gonna die. I didn't think he was gonna live to the end. I thought he was gonna die closer to the end. He kind of died right in the middle.
Yeah, there's like a half an hour left after he died.
Yeah,
something like that.
But that last like little monologue he does when he thinks like Logan's in the room with him.
Oh yeah.
I was like tearing up because I was like, no, this is
literally don't remember what he said.
Oh, okay. Well, he was talking about regrets in life and.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was so
I don't
weird.
think I can quote it. I've only seen it once.
I guess. I have some notes.
Mm-hmm.
The kids at the very end, X-23 is not the only person in the program. There was like 6 other kids.
Mm-hmm.
And at the very end, they're being chased through the forest, and they're trying to be captured.
Sure.
And all of these people are mutants, and they all have powers.
Mm-hmm.
They literally don't use them.
Okay, they're little kids. And they do use them at the very end.
Yeah, at the very end, after they've been captured.
And the girl with like the nature stuff,
yeah,
she used it to fight off.
She did. But they've literally been born and bred to be warfighters, and they've been using their powers since they were born. It's not like they're new to these powers.
That's true.
They should have maybe not full control, but they should know what they're doing. And if you're trying to get away from something like Rico, who was the leader who has the power over...
He literally didn't use his power the entire time.
He's an earthbender,
very end.
right? He's an earthbender, and he could have just like raised a wall
to stop all the troops.
Yeah. And he didn't.
He didn't. I mean, I didn't even know what his power was until the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
When he uses it like once.
So maybe the excuse is they're kids. Come on, they're afraid. But at the same time, they've grown up into a very militaristic society where you think they'd be used to things like this.
Sure.
So that was a little frustrating. The robot hand guy, whose name is Pierce, the leader of the Reavers, didn't do anything. You know, he was just kind of there and
he just kept chasing.
Yeah, he was chasing. He didn't like. He was never a threat to anybody.
Not really. Yeah.
Because he took Caliban and took him out, but then he didn't kill him. So okay.
Well, and he's not strong. Like he doesn't have any superpowers really.
He might. I don't know. How are we supposed to know?
Well, they didn't show it.
Are you talking about Caliban or Pierce?
No, Pierce.
Oh. How did he die at the end?
All the kids kill him with their powers.
Yeah. He gets like sucked into the earth.
Yeah, gets sucked into the earth, gets frozen, gets electrocuted, gets like everything. Really, I expected him to be more of a threat to like Logan.
Yeah.
But it ended up being that they just genetically make like another Logan.
Yeah.
And
X-24.
And then that's like the real villain. I mean, that's like the one you're actually afraid of who could kill people.
He kills a family.
Yeah, he kills.
That
was brutal.
That's an R rating. That's the feelings of horror and dread and shocking scenes when he kills that family.
Right after, okay, and that's again like that's the end of that part of the story, right? Them all dying. The beginning of it is Hugh being called, or Logan being called by Professor X to like accept her as his daughter and to like love them like a family, and he uses the family as an example, right? He's like, this is what it's like, Logan. This is like what it could be like, and you see from what you go from one end of the spectrum, which I figured this is what was going to happen, but you go from one end of the spectrum where you're like, oh, look at these happy feelings, look, they're so cool and they're getting along and Logan's laughing and this is Laura's first experience with like an actual family, right?
That's true.
To then them all getting like murdered by young Logan.
By
X-24, the genetically made one.
But see, I think the house scene where X-24 goes on the rampage, I think that whole thing is worth an R rating. They didn't need all the unnecessary language at the beginning just for to have it. They didn't need the nudity.
It didn't follow through the rest of the movie. The language didn't. It was just right at the beginning. There was like a bunch of F-bombs.
Yeah.
And then it was like, done. Like I don't even remember that many F-bombs after that first like 20 minutes.
But there was, I might just become accustomed to it.
Maybe we did, but
there was. I remember the very first scene when they're carjacking him, the Mexican cartel or whatever they're doing. He fights them, and there's a real sense for me, like a real sense of like a horror. Like this could turn out like he's terrifying right now, and this could turn out to be like more like a horror film than a normal superhero movie. And while I don't know if this is necessarily a normal superhero movie, they didn't follow the horror trend that I was kind of hoping it would once I first started, but that's okay. Because that wasn't really why I was there. But they could have just like turned it up on its head and like they're being chased the whole movie. Yeah. Think of that as like a horror movie. Like they're always on the brink, they're always just about to get away, they like need to run and hide, and instead they have jokes throughout the whole thing, and sometimes people laughing at things that aren't funny because Deadpool lightened the mood in the very beginning, as opposed to the end. Which I don't know why they did at the beginning instead of the end.
Yeah, I think it would have been better at the end.
The nurse, the video that the nurse made to show them what was happening at the facility was incredible. Yeah. Can you imagine doing all that on her phone? You might not remember this very much, although you have been editing videos and maybe you noticed.
No, I literally thought, what, she have like Sunny Vegas or something?
Yeah,
like,
she has like,
do that with her cell
she's
phone?
doing transitions and voiceover work in different audio levels and different angles and different scenes, and she's carrying a coherent thought from one scene at one place to a different scene at a different place. Like, that takes an incredible amount of skill and forethought.
As in, she didn't actually do it that way.
Yeah. So that's all I was thinking during the film, and the whole point of the cell phone camera video is just that exposition, right?
Yeah, sure.
But all I was thinking was, how the heck does she do all this video work, like, on her phone, trying to sneak around and do stuff?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I thought that was funny.
Don't know.
I have a favorite scene.
Yeah.
It's at the very end, when Logan is buried under the rock and he's dead.
Yeah.
And he has the cross.
Sure.
And Laura changes the cross from a T to an X.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was my favorite scene in the whole movie. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That was a great addition. Do you have a favorite scene?
I just really enjoyed the end. Like, the end fight scene.
In the forest?
Yeah. So, like, Logan says some things that make him sound like a terrible person, and all the kids leave without him.
Yeah.
And from that point to the end of the movie, I loved it. Because he goes after them, and then he knows that the serum is, like, healing him and keeping him alive, and, like, could potentially reverse it for a long period of time as opposed to what he did with it.
Yeah.
But to catch up and to save the kids, he literally injects, like, the rest of the serum into him, and then he goes crazy. I thought that was funny.
He does go crazy. That was insane.
I was like, that's what I'm talking about. That's like, he goes back to essentially, like, original Wolverine.
Oh, yeah. Another thing.
Because the whole movie, he's kind of, like, sucked.
Yeah.
Like, he sucked at fighting.
When he gets really angry, though, he destroys people.
Yeah, he still can destroy people, but compared to what he can do, or he used to be able to do.
And that's another thing to my previous point, is that X-23 is so violently, she just attacks everything without remorse. Well, maybe not without remorse, but she, like, goes at it.
Gets wild.
And all the other kids that have been through the same program as her, some are older, some same age, maybe some are younger, are very reluctant to use their powers. And I don't understand.
Well, I kind of feel like that's just Wolverine.
Like inside of her, you think?
Well, yeah, I think that's just the disposition of Wolverine, is to be wild, right? And then I think that this is her as a child doing the same thing that Wolverine did before he was... I guess when he was... I guess he wasn't that wild, but...
I have a wild thought. Stick with me.
Okay.
Because I'm going to turn this movie upside down.
Okay.
This is my idea on how to make the movie better.
Okay, go for it.
As we've talked about, there are quite a few of Last of Us parallels, which detracted me from the movie, maybe detracted you from the movie, because it takes what could have been an original story, and instead they merged it with The Last of Us, which is a great story, but I've seen it before, rather recently.
Sure.
A couple years. What if instead we completely get rid of X-23?
Okay.
Get rid of the girl, get rid of that whole program, the transient program.
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of added this, they kind of just tacked this on. Like, as they say in the movie, they've only known each other for a week, and now she's risking her life for him, and he's risking her life for her. And I understand that based on what they've been through. But the same, it's just like, this is his end moment. This is the end of his legacy as Wolverine, and you're just throwing in a new character that no one's seen before.
Sure.
And we're all supposed to feel for her. I don't understand.
Okay.
I can make parallels to Uncharted 4, which you haven't finished yet, but the same. It's the fourth film. It's the fourth game.
Why should we care about Sam?
Why should we care about Sam? We never heard of him before this game.
Sure.
So that's a video game reference that I'm trying to make. But in this one, what if we completely get rid of the girl? Instead, hone in and focus on the Professor X Logan relationship. Focus on what happened with Professor X when he had his seizure and killed everybody. So that gets kind of mentioned, and it kind of falls to the wayside. You find out, or Professor X finds out about halfway through the movie that he's being drugged because he had a seizure and it killed 600 civilians and a couple of mutants. You can assume it's at the school.
Yeah.
He has been drugged, so he has forgotten all that. But he goes a couple days without drugs. He hears it on the radio. Now he finds out. And you could still have Wolverine being chased by the Reavers because a side mission for them is to get Professor X.
Sure.
So you don't need the girl to include the Reavers at all.
Mm.
And instead you could get rid of X-24 and just have another villain, maybe have Pierce do something instead of just sticking around running his mouth.
Right.
And instead you would end Logan, Hugh Jackman's role as Wolverine between a friendship between him and Professor X, who took him in when he was younger.
Right.
And I just think there wouldn't be any The Last of Us parallels. You could still end with them being chased and them running and them still needed... Essentially, you could have the exact same movie just without the girl. So instead, Professor X wouldn't die...
focused on getting Wolverine to, like, accept the girl. Instead, it would be, like, him trying to get Wolverine to, like, accept
his
life,
fate.
accept his fate, accept mortality, like, and see the bright side of things.
Maybe not the bright side, but an acceptable side.
Sure.
For Wolverine.
Right.
Right? So, I think that would have had so much more emotion and feel to it, as opposed to just adding this X-23, which I assume they're going to make a sequel to this where X-23 is doing her thing, and they have... Or now the X-23, the whole team is now like the new X-Men or something like that.
Maybe.
So I just think... What if you got rid of the girl completely? Would the movie really fall apart? I think it would be better. Because you would still have you could have literally everything the same. You would still have the highway scene where the horses fall apart, where the horse truck gets destroyed, and Professor X saves the horses like he does, and then the farmers talk to him. They're like, "Oh, is that your dad?" Yeah. So instead of saying this is my dad and my girl, they still go down there. You still have that information. You still have the Reavers come, kill the family.
Right.
And then Wolverine and Professor X still have to run for it. Eventually, Professor X will probably die.
Yep.
You'd assume in this. Wolverine goes then on a rampage, and then he can still die the same way.
Sure.
And he would die alone, which is his life choice. He's always tried to be alone. He's always been trying to be... Professor X has always tried to make him part of the team, part of the family.
Sure.
And Wolverine's always been very reluctant to that.
Right, because he lives forever.
So
right?
double down on that, right?
Yeah.
So now that he's dying, he was born alone, he died alone. And that can be a very somber end to this movie, which did have a somber ending. But again, I think having the kids in there, 100% unnecessary. You could have done such a great film without that. So in the comic books, Old Man Logan, which this is very loosely based off of, Wolverine gets confused by my favorite Spider-Man villain, Mysterio, and ends up killing all the X-Men. That's how all the X-Men die. In this one, Professor X has his mental breakdown, and all the X-Men die that way. So that's still the same. You have Professor X learning to deal with what happened to him while he's dying. You have Wolverine learning to deal with what's happened with Professor X, all of his friends, all the people he's lived with. The family that he's been a part of is now ending. He's about to be on his own again. And then it still ends.
I think that could work. The only thing...
I guess the question is, what did the girl bring, or the X-23 program bring, or X-24 bring to this film? Anything?
My favorite line in the movie was while Logan was dying, when Laura came up to him and he said his last words, "Don't be the weapon that they made you to be." That's what he says.
Okay.
And that's like, to me, that moment really wraps up Logan. Because ever since we know him in the X-Men movies, he's struggled with, who am I? Where did I come from? Why do I have these metal claw? Like,
that's true.
Why? And the whole story, all the stories about adamantium and kind of like Trusk or whatever the guy's name was. It wasn't Trusk. It was Trask. Like that whole storyline, like it really wrapped it up. And if there's one thing that Logan would probably try and teach his daughter, that would be it, right? That's like the whole lesson of his entire life. That's all he lived for, was not to be the weapon he was made to be.
Which is something that Professor X has been trying to teach him.
Right. So I thought it was a beautiful moment at the end. I don't think that's possible to have without someone to pass it on to. So I could see in that way that it wouldn't be the same. I also think that what you're describing would be a good movie too. It would be different, I think.
But don't you think it could have also, without the girl, that could have been a conversation between Professor X and Logan, where Professor X on his deathbed is like, you've never been what they programmed you to be or whatever.
Yeah, they could have had a similar moment. Which, yeah, I guess. I don't know how Last Words would work that way if it just goes into, like, some rampage against, like...
Yeah, right. I mean, obviously, yes, he went to a rampage and kill him, but, I mean, maybe not. Maybe he just gets taken out from behind or something, but... I don't know. I don't personally think X-24, X-23, either one of them needed to be in it. I was talking on the way back from the movie theater. I was talking to my wife about it. She says she really liked having the girl in there because it brought a mortality, a family, a closeness to Wolverine. But that's already been fleshed out. He's already had a love. He's already had feelings for someone, Jean Grey, and which he already sacrificed for Scott Summers. And then also, she died when she was the Phoenix in X2 or X3. I don't remember which one.
Yeah.
So he's already had these emotions. He's already had these feelings. He's already had that humanity. That I don't necessarily know if we need to go back and do that again.
Yeah.
I like the movie. I think there are ways to improve it. I don't think at all X-23 needed to be in this. I thought while the actress was good, I remember her first name is Daphne. I don't remember her last name. I think she was a good addition. I think she did a really good job. I think that she was the weakest part of the film. Not because of her, but because of the writing, because they felt like they needed to include something where I don't think it needed to be there. I don't know what else. What would you say would be the weakest part of this film?
Weakest part of the film. I felt like at times it got a little bogged down where I was like, I don't really know where this is going. Like when they're at the hotel.
The hotel casino?
The hotel casino thing. I was like, don't know where this is going. And then the whole thing about how Eden was like fake.
Yeah.
Like that was never really fleshed out. Like they got there and Rico was like talking on the radio to somebody and they were like, asylum has been approved, like come this way. Like, does that mean Eden is real or are they just talking to Canadians? Like,
well, yeah, they're trying to for some reason they're trying to get to Canada, so and that means that they're safe. Like, how are they safe? Because Transient has already gone through the Mexican-American border.
Right. Why can't
so they can't go through Canada-America border?
Right. So I think there are a few like story aspects that don't really get fleshed out very well.
I did like that they're going to Canada because that's where Wolverine's originally from. And I assume he died in Canada. I think the grave scene that he did with Professor X was nice.
Yeah.
Was a nice addition. I also think it showed more about Wolverine's character because he was sad and he didn't open up to Laura. He just got very angry, which I think is very Wolverine-like. And then with that, like another one of the jokes that people laughed at, and I don't know if they should have, was after he buried Professor X, he went and the car wouldn't start. So he just starts pounding on the car. And I don't know if that's a directorial issue where it doesn't show like it doesn't tell you what feelings you're supposed to feel.
Right.
But he started like hitting the car with a shovel and everything. And I think if you zoomed in on Logan and you saw his face, you saw his emotions, and you're much closer to him,
you wouldn't laugh.
You wouldn't laugh. You'd see his pain. But because we see it from a distance, it's just a crazy guy banging his truck with a hammer or banging his truck with a shovel. Like that's funny. But if you zoomed in on him and you show what he was really feeling, I think it would have been a completely different scene.
Yeah, I could see that. I agree with that.
Also, I didn't mention this before I made my improvement speech. This is not the first time we've seen an adamantium bullet. He got Logan in X-Men Origins Wolverine when he fights Deadpool on top of the nuclear reactor.
So, like the first Wolverine standalone film.
Yes. Yeah. He got shot in the head twice with 2 adamantium bullets, both at close range. All that happened to him was he got his memory wiped. But now in this one,
he dies. It's
like he's supposed to die because the girl shoots X-24 and his head gets blown up. You assume he's gonna die.
Yeah.
You don't really know though. So I don't know. I don't think X-24 is dead. It's been shown that Wolverine can like reassemble himself from like a drop of blood, stuff like that. It's crazy. Like
seriously.
In one of the comics, Magneto rips out all of his adamantium bones. Like he's just flesh and muscle, and he regenerates.
His bones.
Yeah.
Dang. Is his adamantium gone though?
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe.
It should be.
You would think so, but I'm not sure. So Wolverine wouldn't be able to survive that because he's already old and feeble. But X-24 could definitely survive that.
Sure.
Like he got it even in the movie. He got his head blown off. They gave him the healing potion, and his eye grew back. Remember when he got struck by the car?
Sure.
What did you think? Let's dive more in for a little bit into the family scene. The very end when the father rams the truck into X-24.
Yeah.
The specific scene where he shoots X-24 with all his bullets, and he goes to shoot Wolverine.
Yeah.
What do you think that means?
I mean, I think he blames Logan for the death of his family.
You think so?
Yeah.
Or do you think that maybe he's just a little prejudiced against mutants in general? He didn't realize that Logan was a mutant, and now that he knows, he would have never let him into his family.
No, I mean, to me, it was blaming Logan for all of this. Because I think he puts it together that the only reason my whole family died is because they came for these other people.
Yeah. Maybe.
So, I mean, that's kind of what I took from it.
There's also
he was dying.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how rational he was.
There are multiple scenes where normal civilians are fans of Logan and Wolverine. So even Pierce at the very beginning says, I was a fan of you. Mm-hmm. The Doctor says, I've always wanted to meet one of you. So there's not a huge fear from the civilians, from the non-mutants, from the muggles of mutants, whereas you would expect there to be.
Yeah, I thought there would be a little bit of distance.
I like the movie. I definitely don't think it's as good as The Dark Knight or something like that. I don't even know if it's the best X-Men movie. Yeah. But I do wish they would have followed up more on what happened with Professor X, his relationship with Logan, as opposed to adding this new character that no one's seen before in this storyline. I mean, we've seen X-23 before and like X2, but for this purpose, it's a new character, all this new stuff, when I think you could have just doubled down on their relationship, what happened in the past with him killing everybody, and them trying to work through it eventually to their deaths, as opposed to now X-23 is out there, so we can make as many sequels as we want.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think I'd rank this as the best X-Men movie either. So
cool.
It was good though. I mean, I would advise people
to see it in theaters.
Yeah.
What's the Underpaid Gamers rating?
I would give it
theater worthy.
Yeah, I think it's theater worthy.
Theater worthy with concessions. That's like a $25 deal.
I bought concessions. I don't think everyone else has to. I was trying to resist doing it, and then you came in and you're like, "You want to go with concessions?"
You're like, "No, I might miss episode 8 trailer."
Yeah, I know.
No, you're not gonna miss an episode 8 trailer.
I would have known about it already, and then I caved and I bought them. I shouldn't have.
You bought the largest.
Of course, I always buy the largest. I was originally going to get a medium and a medium, but then they're like, it's $1 more for both large. I was like,
that's $2.
Okay.
Gosh.
They get me with this stuff.
Anyway, I think that's our conversation for today.
Yep.
If you have any thoughts on Logan specifically, please leave a comment. Tell us what you thought. Tell us if one of us is completely wrong, completely right, or somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Tell us what you think about my idea for getting rid of X-23 completely and seeing how that would affect the movie.
Yeah.
Because I honestly think that's a very good idea. And I would have liked to see that movie as opposed to what we saw.
And if you have any photos from Horizon Zero Dawn, don't forget to tweet at us.
Tweet at
those hashtags.
Tweet at us. Tweet at us at UP Gamers Podcast.
Yep.
Tweet at the other podcast, Games and Gaming Podcast, or just at Games and Gaming. Use the hashtag HZD photo mode or Horizon Zero Dawn photo mode. I don't remember.
Photo challenge, something
like that.
Yeah.
Join us in the fun. You can like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. Subscribe to us on YouTube.
You can like us on Facebook.
I like us on Facebook. I thought I said that.
I don't know. Underpaidgamers.com. Check it out. We have a website.
We're on iTunes, SoundCloud, other podcast services. Thanks for listening. Next week, more Horizon Zero Dawn.
And whatever news we scrounge up.
Whatever else comes out.
All right. Thanks for watching, you guys. Bye.